broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Yeah. Don't be confused. We're snapping away. That's right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV. This is not Friends. But it's sort of like it. It's like the next best thing, right?
Yeah, it's totally.
This is the after show for Grace and Frankie on Netflix. So if you binge watch, we are just doing episode 1 right now, season 1. If you guys want to check us out, rate and comment on iTunes, go to iTunes and let us know what you think. We're going to go over the show and talk about how much we love it and how amazing it is. I am your host, Lauren Leonelli. You can find me at Lauren Leonelli all over the everything on all of the things on social media. And here with me, I have 2 lovely co-hosts today.
Hello, I'm Lauren LoGrasso, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram and all the other things as well at LoGrasso.
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you.
Nice.
I wish my name was Lauren.
Well, it's
right.
not though.
No.
We're not going to all be Lauren today.
We can't all be the same.
No. But hey guys, I'm Jillian Fleischman. You can find me on Twitter at Jill_Fleischman, and then everything else, Jillian Fleischman. Twitter's weird. I don't know.
It's something you can't have it all in
No.
all of the same places. So we played the Friends theme song because Marta Kaufman is the creator of Friends, the wonderful show that everyone loves so much.
Changed the game.
Changed
Yeah.
the frickin' game, Marta Kaufman. And she brought it again, right?
She did.
Totally.
Obviously this is a much different setup. Even it's an hour long. It's on Netflix. It's not a sitcom. It's not multicam, or maybe it is. I don't know. It's just shot differently, but you still feel. I do still feel that heart and that comedy in there. There's like a nice balance, didn't you think?
It's a punchy humor, but there's still a lot of realness to it.
That's what I was just
100%.
going to say. It's so real.
Yeah.
And you're laughing because what they're saying makes sense to you, not because it's like a scripted joke that you know, are expecting.
And I feel like that, and we're probably going to do this a lot, but I feel like that Friends, we're going to compare, it really did feel that way. Although it was a sitcom, it was a different formula and a different type of writing, if you will. It was still... There was still that heart and that funny, punchy, real dialogue. Right. And I think that's kind of like what started getting sitcoms. Friends and Seinfeld sort of made that transition, I think, to the real kind of like shows about nothing, just about life. Like it wasn't like so wackiness ensues and like everything was so set up.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of opened the door for that.
I feel like I watch Friends now, and I can watch any episode, and I automatically laugh, even though I expect the joke. And that's what, like, I feel after watching this first episode, that I can kind of do that again, where if you watch it again, you're laughing at the same jokes, but because they're funny, because they make sense.
And you watched it twice, right?
I did, because I wanted to get into it. I didn't know originally that we were going to be watching it today as a group.
Right.
So I have to say about this show in particular, and similarly to Friends, that it gets better the second time you watch it.
Totally.
You appreciate the jokes more. You appreciate the intricacies more. It was awesome.
When something's this well written and well done, I mean, the actors are amazing. There's so many layers that I feel like it is something that you can watch over and over again, and it's almost like new the second time, or you're hearing things differently. And
that's it.
And I think that's why Friends, like you were saying, Jillian, it's like you can watch it again. You're expecting the joke. You know the lines.
Yeah.
But like it's that classic kind of like realness that's...
And I think these characters, they're kind of, they're Grace and Frankie, but it's a little bit of Jane Fonda and a little bit of Lily Tomlin.
And a little bit of Monica and a little bit of Phoebe.
Totally.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
So I agree that it's nice to see the actresses that we know. I mean, they're seasoned, amazing actresses.
Legends,
icons. So we know them, we've seen them, and we know now we're seeing who they are too in the coming out in these characters. And I love how they were cast that way. Like Jane Fonda is she's Grace, and she's very like businesswoman, very straight. She's like the straight
ain't
man.
over-attentive.
Yeah, she's a little cold.
Totally.
When you meet her.
Totally.
For the
And
first
I
time.
love it when she lets her guard down later on, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But it's such a dichotomy between the cold, stern woman to when she just lets it all hang out.
Totally. And it's not coming off cheesy and cliche at all.
No.
It's
No.
like coming off very natural. And then obviously we have Lily Tomlin playing Frankie, who is like the Phoebe, who is like the hippy dippy, like free spirit.
Super emotional.
Super emotional.
Yeah.
So we find out that Grace and Frankie's husbands are gay. They're business
For
partners.
20 years, they've been having an affair.
They've been married for 40 years, so half of their marriage has been, well, what the women have described as a lie.
Right.
That's pretty intense.
Right. And Robert and Saul, the husbands, they own a business together, correct?
Yeah, they're both lawyers, so they're
Partners.
They're partners at the firm.
And in life.
And in life, and look how that happened. Isn't that lovely? So they decide they're going to tell their children.
Yeah, I think the reason for telling the wives was because they could finally get married.
Yes.
And they
Right.
wanted to get married. So first they told their wives at dinner, and Grace
Jane
throws
Fonda-
shrimp.
Yeah, there's shrimp and crabs and all kinds of shellfish at him.
I love that.
So I hope you
and
like
then-
seafood.
And then after they've had, one night, which I think is a little short to process it,
Right.
they tell their kids.
Well, it's got to happen in TV time.
Right.
So then they decide, okay, well now we're gonna, we got to break the news to the family, and so Grace and Robert have two girls. The Brooklyn Decker is one of the
She's
daughters.
the younger daughter with the kids, with the long
kids.
hair. Yeah.
And the other actress's name is June Diane Raphael. I swear, I hope I'm
New
getting this
girl,
right.
right?
And also I think I feel like she was on Roseanne a long time ago, but maybe
Really?
I'm confusing her with another actress. But anyway, I've
She
seen her
plays like
before.
the gynecologist friend on New Girl.
Okay.
But I like great comedic timing from
Yeah.
her.
Oh my gosh, some of those lines. What
Oh.
did she say? Oh, to the
It's like
kids.
she's doing a Xanax, and then
Yeah.
Jane Fonda's like, I'll
Two.
say two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or a Valium or something.
Right.
Right. I mean, it was nice to see them come in. There was a little guest spot. We know Brooklyn Decker is going to be on a couple of episodes,
Yeah.
so we
Right.
know the kids are going to be involved a little. But this obviously was the majority of this episode was about the husbands and wives, and then Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin's characters coming together.
Right.
So then we see, obviously, this is switching back and forth to the much different lives that they both have too. So Grace just, the daughters already knew, and they come into the scene and they're like, "What? Oh my God!"
Well, the other kids told them.
Right.
Yes,
Because they're all so close. Like, when Frankie's husband tells the kids, he's like, Uncle Robert?
Yeah.
He's like, Uncle Robert's gay? Because
Yeah.
they're like, all...
and they're together.
Yes.
And then we see obviously when Frankie's telling her two sons, and Ethan Embry is one of the sons who
Yep.
I am trying to remember what is the movie that She's All That? No.
He's
What
been
was
in
it?
so many things.
What was
Yeah.
Steven, what was the 90s movie with Jennifer Love Hewitt where oh gosh, I am so
We're
can't
doing
believe
some
I am
quick
not.
research
Anyway,
here.
he was like it was Seth Green. And
Seth Green, like from the Seth Green show?
Can't hardly wait.
Can't Hardly Wait. Yes.
MTV?
Yes. I don't know. What did he have a show?
Did-
Oh, he did. Maybe he did.
Was he the guy that like had testicular cancer all those years ago? Or am I thinking of a different
No,
person?
Seth Green is like red hair.
Right.
Seth Green.
Yeah,
okay.
very raunchy.
Who was that guy who was dating Drew Barrymore?
Tom Green.
Tom Green. It was a different Green.
Way different.
Tom Green, much different than
Much
Seth Green.
different.
Right.
But Ethan Embry was in Can't Hardly Wait. Is that it? Yeah, Can't Hardly Wait. Now I'm not even. There were so many of those movies in the 90s. They're all like blending together in my mind. But I looked at him and was like, oh my God, I love that too. I love that we're seeing like seasoned actors that
Yeah.
we know. And
This whole cast is just great
so
people.
talented.
right? Martin Sheen.
Well, that's the thing. Lily...
And wait, who was the one that has the crush?
Sam Waterston.
girl.
Isn't he the grandpa that you always wanted when you look
I
at
mean,
him?
I didn't know that he was, but he does have an essence
He's
to
so.
him.
I mean,
there's an energy.
Anybody who's seen him on Law and Order has to
I mean,
relate.
I'd have
that.
to check it out so I can get on your level, but
He
he's
stands
cute.
on the steps. He's so wise.
Oh.
He's just a
She
grandpa.
I will say that I feel like that about Saul in Homeland.
Right. Yes.
Like
both named Saul.
Both named Saul.
There's a thing about Saul.
There's a thing. There's a
It's
thing.
a very wise name.
Yes, it is. It's from the
with
Bible.
age comes
Gosh.
wisdom, right?
I mean, we all love a Saul. We all love a good Saul.
Yeah.
That's our slogan.
But yeah, I mean, Sam Waterston and Martin Sheen both, hold their own.
Oh, for sure.
With Lily Tomlin and
And vice versa. I mean, right?
It's kind of a foursome, not a twosome star, I think.
Right, for sure. It's a great pairing, a great casting, and it was nice to see the camera flash between Grace and Frankie and like how different their lives are. So we're already getting this setup of like these two women are so not the same, but we know because of the show that they're going to come together and be friends. Somehow they're going to bond over this commonality.
Yeah.
But how they're going to do that is going to be really funny.
It screams Odd Couple at the beginning.
Totally.
Totally.
Yeah. So it's funny to see them telling their kids and how they're reacting and whatever. And then we go to a scene where we watch them kind of say, we know they're going to start to say goodbye to themselves, the old them.
Right.
And we see Grace in the grocery store. And the woman, it wasn't clear to me. She's a beauty
Yeah, she does
guru.
something with beauty, right? It was her face on a box of hair color.
That's what it seemed like. Natural hair color. Because it seemed like she was in a Whole Foods.
And she's noticed, obviously, by everybody.
Right.
So she's some level of fame. Maybe she's some sort of beauty guru or what have you. And she's, somebody says, "Is that you?" Because it's her picture on a box of whatever it is. And she says it was. And I think that was her moment where she was like, it put her hood over and like ran out of the store and decided she was going to go to their beach house, which, to rewind, how funny was it when she opened up the box and the chair.
Oh my gosh.
The Ryan Gosling chair.
To quote.
Yes.
If anyone's going to sit on Ryan Gosling's face, it's going to be me.
I think that was definitely the quote of the episode.
Oh my God.
There were a couple good zingers, but that was definitely top five.
I remember when they were filming the show, the paparazzi got a picture of her, Jane Fonda, holding the chair. And the chair sold out in 2 hours after, or like the next day.
Oh, that's a real chair. That's a real thing that exists.
They make Ryan Gosling leggings too.
I didn't know that. That's wild.
Well, Ryan Gosling's like a thing. They make like books with his face, like
Right,
hey girl, hey girl,
yeah, that thing.
But they had
it's a culture
with that chair, and it's sold out. In
I
the
can
next
see
day
why. I would like to sit on that chair too.
Me too.
Anyway, hey, this was in the show. We're just going with what was happening.
Right.
So,
but they own the house together. The
they
beach house,
own this beach house together. It was a business venture that they went into together, both families. And so obviously now we're also knowing, clearly these families know each other. Not just that the husbands work together and have been having an affair, but also their kids grew up together. We're seeing that they do really know each other. Right. And we're assuming that Grace and Frankie don't really like each other.
That's the thing that's odd is that the families are so close, yet they're not close. They're so opposite.
They don't even want to be in the same room.
I think that my guess is that somewhere along the lines they had a falling out.
Right.
So
which maybe we'll see.
I kind of feel like they've always been circling each other because that kind of hate, it's just like, when you meet someone and you don't know why, but you're just like, I can't with you.
But even when they sit down at the table at the beginning, they can't even fake it.
No, I mean, the kisses were the most like obnoxious, phony thing I've ever
Frankie's
seen.
eating bread, and Grace is like, "Oh, you could take the bread away."
Yeah,
it was like a total mean girl move, like when someone's like, "Oh, you're gonna eat that?"
Yeah,
right.
That was totally what I got.
Other good line: she takes the bread away for vodka, and Frankie says, "You know that bread comes from potatoes, right?
Or vodka comes from potatoes."
I think that we'll see, and definitely there's tension between them, and because they're so different. But I feel like we're gonna discover that something specific really pushed them away.
I hope so.
Sure,
just because I think it would make sense. But 100%, they're definitely like two opposite ends of the spectrum, and so this is what's gonna make it interesting. And maybe this will be how they finally end up, bonding and becoming friends. But we see them both kind of discover as well that this was something, their husband's homosexuality was something that was in front of them the whole time. And when the Ryan Gosling chair comes, we see...
when the Ryan Gosling chair comes.
The Ryan Gosling chair is a thing. We see Grace, kind of like discover, oh shit. Like
all these things the whole time.
Yeah. All the books and all the things. And then, we see... Frankie's character at the store buying a bunch of alcohol and ice cream, and she's like, that's how she's coping.
But everything to her is screaming homosexual because she's like, Ben and Jerry's now?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they were together?
Yeah.
She asks this other woman in the convenience store, and the other woman looks at her and is like, "What are you talking about?"
Like, but to her, it's so obvious now.
Right.
So now everyone's on high alert. So these women now we know, oh crap, they're both going to end up at the beach together. What is going to happen? And of course, they meet, and the like most ironic, funny, heightened time where Frankie is like doing what is she doing? A tea?
She was saging everything, and she was taking a video of herself. She was about to take, what was the name of that called? It was
the peyote.
Yeah, the peyote tea. She was making a video because the old self was dying and the new one was being reborn.
And she was recording it, and it was like saying goodbye to her old self, and it was this old like Native American peyote tea ceremony, and clearly this is like her and her most Fruit Loopy area that she could go, and Grace walks in and is like, "Are you kidding me? What are you doing here? And B, what are you doing here? Like, what is going on?"
It's interesting though that they feel they have to change and become different people because their husbands are different people than they thought. Yeah, because they could still say who they were, but they're changing because
maybe that will be something that we'll discover with them. Maybe they'll realize, you know what, hey, we don't have to be different. But I do think right now their coping mechanism is to run away. Like, what do we do? This is horrible.
Well, no one else can relate to what they're going through besides each other.
Exactly.
Which is why they bond towards the end of the episode.
And I love that before Grace comes in and finds Frankie doing the tea seance thing, that she's eating ice cream and she's pouring
rum in it?
It was Jack Daniels.
Great idea.
It actually looked really good.
Why did that look so good?
I don't know.
Do I have a problem? Maybe I do.
Feel like we should get some of that in here right now and just try it so we can really know what the characters were going through.
I'm going to the grocery store after this.
There was, on Friends, on the Thanksgiving episode, there was a Thanksgiving sandwich they talked about, and there was this whole thing with the bread in the middle that was soaked in the gravy, and I tried it. So I'm saying now, she did the alcohol on the ice cream. Like, why would you not put a little floater on?
Did you hear about the girl who, remember the Tureen, Rachel, the cookbook?
Oh.
The page is torn out, so she makes half sweet, half savory of the
trifle.
Oh,
yes. Oh, my gosh.
Someone made it.
Was it good?
No, it was awful, obviously. It was like meat and whipped cream.
Ew.
Do you remember that episode? That was
yes, Joey liked it. He goes, I like it.
In his pants.
Of course.
In his maternity pants for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
I forgot about that specifically, but
some girl made it.
Yeah, well, you know, hey.
Not everything is meant to be recreated,
but this is definitely meant to be created because it looked real good.
Yep.
And also, so random and funny and side note, but like, how funny was it when Frankie went to open the refrigerator and she couldn't? Because you know how the refrigerators, the new ones, they stick after you close them because it's like a locking mechanism. So she counted to 10 and then she opened it.
Well, that's like, what's real about this show. You're laughing at things that are funny because they make sense to you more than it's scripted.
That's why I feel like I had to point that out, because it was one of those moments where you're like, oh my God, that's like an everyday normal thing that it's just funny.
How much of this do you think is scripted and it's just them being themselves?
My favorite scene in the whole thing, to answer that, was when Frankie was at the convenience store and she was like talking to the guy about the cigarettes, and if you just found out your husband was gay, which cigarettes would you be smoking? Because, you know, and then and everything was coming out so like disjointed. That felt to me like there might have been an idea that they wanted her to talk about, but she just went with it in that moment, and I love that. And they're both, she's freaking brilliant, first of all, Lily Tomlin.
It sounds totally organic.
Totally organic. So even if it was scripted, maybe there was just a couple takes where she went, I don't know, but that I questioned that too in that moment. I was like, how much of this is improv?
Yeah.
I think when they were saying the crazy things after they drank the tea on the beach, I feel like that was definitely improv.
Just go with it.
Yeah. Say anything. I know, when they were dancing around.
Oh, how fun, right? To just go there and film that and just be like, you know,
pretending like you're high.
Not really. Like taking peyote doesn't really sound
friends.
fun.
They wanted
to scary.
They wanted to do a project together at some point. I mean, it's just such a perfect match.
Such a perfect match. So now, you know, we get to, eventually they're on the beach together having this fun little bonding session accidentally. But before that, we see Grace asking, Robert is her husband, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's saying, I want the house. You owe me, give me this beach house. And he's like, I don't know how that's going to happen because we own it with them, but okay. And so, and so we know that that's kind of in the works in the background, that somehow she's obviously going to end up living there. Is what I'm assuming, and and we see that.
I think they're both going to end up living there.
They're both going to end up.
Me
That
too.
would be my guess too. But that's got to happen. And also, it was nice to see the husbands together.
They're so happy.
Oh, yeah. That was really sweet.
Really sweet scene, and it needed to happen, I think, storyline-wise, because you don't want to not like them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's not about, it's not about, I mean, it sucks that this happened to the women and they felt like they were in a lie in the relationships or whatever, but, these guys felt this way. It's not like it was one torrid, dumb love affair. Like, they're really in love with each other, and you have to, like that about them.
I feel like when I was watching this, and I'm sure this is going to be discussed because it's such an obvious thing, but if they left for women, it would be totally different. But because they're leaving for each other,
there's more layers to it.
It's like everyone's very supportive of them being together because they're men. But if like Robert said, I'm leaving you for another woman, no one would be supporting the dad.
It's an interesting take. I think right now, time-wise, it's a sensitive time to that subject, so it happens to be good timing. But I wonder if, we saw a woman that was really in love with a man and they'd been together for 20 years and they were really in love with each other. I wonder if we would... it would be I thought about that too.
They have to discuss it because...
how it's different.
I feel torn over it, actually, because it is still 20 years that they were with this person while having an affair.
Oh, for sure.
Regardless. And I get that they're from a different generation, so things were much more locked down back then. It was like, you're not gay, you're just, you're straight.
Yeah.
And I'm sure those ideals are really hard to weed out of yourself, even living in current society where it is so much more open.
Totally.
But I have to feel for these women. If I was in their position, I would feel completely insane.
There has to be different stages of them going through this too. So that's why I feel like something like this is going to come up, because then they're going to, like, the anger. And they have a right to be angry.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a good point, actually. It really does. I mean, it shouldn't be any different if it's a woman or a man. It's just, I guess when it's a woman, it almost feels, I think maybe why it's different, and I've never been through anything like this, but psychologically I could venture to say, because that's, like, a man is not you at all. It's like apples and oranges.
Someone's
so
taking
you're
your
gonna
place.
like that, then it's still a loss, but it's a totally different kind of loss.
When
you
it's
can
a woman,
understand. Oh, go ahead.
I would just say, like, when it's a woman, and not that I've been through this either, I would say that it feels like someone's taking your place.
Totally.
Right.
But as a man, it's a different direction.
It's just like a totally different thing.
And there's nothing you could have done about it.
Totally.
What were you going to say that I cut you off by accident?
Oh, what was I going to say? Well, you can understand from the guy's point of view more why they wouldn't have just been out with it, 20 years ago when they first fell in love, because there were so many more layers to it.
Right. And so that makes you dislike them less for keeping it a secret, because it wasn't a malicious thing. It was a societal thing. There's a lot of pressure. There are these lawyers. They work together. They have families. Yeah. So I do think that scene helped the audience go, okay, we don't hate these dudes. They're, and they're trying to be honest, and they're trying their best, and they're legitimately in love. And it was a really nice, touching scene.
Yeah.
And then we cut to these women, Frankie's on the beach in a high peyote state. She needs her back pills. Her back's hurting. Grace comes to the rescue, accidentally drinks the tea with the muscle relaxer.
Worst
She's like,
iced tea
you have
ever.
a muscle relaxer, drinks the tea, drinks the muscle relaxer, and they are then hilarity ensues.
Yes.
Like, this was so funny. The things that, how about when she said, Grace said, she looked right at Frankie, sitting dead still, and goes, stop dancing. And she was not moving.
I didn't know I was dancing.
I mean, it was just like those funny moments. And again, these are those funny moments that we're talking about that make it real. I mean, they were, we discover how they're dealing with this. Frankie is heartbroken and Grace is angry.
Yeah.
And so we see how they're going to, I assume they're going to teach each other how to feel the different emotions, because you got to feel all of them. So they're going to help each other move through it. They wake up on the beach, or maybe they just are there on the beach in the morning.
I don't get the feeling either. I think they just watched everything happen overnight.
Danced around. Then they talked to the birds and said,
Jesus was there. Apparently.
Special appearance.
Still hallucinating.
We didn't get to see him, but they said he was there. We believe him.
They were hallucinating on the peyote. They told the birds to watch out. Whoever the girl bird was needed to be aware that the guy bird was probably lying and to fly away.
Not a bad lesson.
Totally funny. And then they come back to the house together, and they they find the Cialis pills and they laugh about it.
Because she found him before.
Yeah.
Grace found them with her husband.
Yes. So. And they kind of talk about the little signs that they saw, and we start to see the common ground, obviously, that they're totally different, but they share this thing.
And then at the end, what I found very poignant was they're both sitting there on a chair. Both of them have a mug in their hand, and they're mirror images of each other, but right now they're so different.
Totally.
But they're going to come together.
They're going to come together.
There are many more episodes to come.
And there are many more episodes to come. And we are super excited about them because the show, it totally made me laugh out loud. Like, just like Friends. In a different way, but the same, you know.
Yeah.
I loved it. I'm so excited about it. Also, you know, this is Netflix, so clearly people could have been binged watched the whole season right now. We here are going to take it episode by episode. So I have not seen the next one.
Me either.
I haven't either.
Every week we're going to do, you know, we're going to talk about the coming episodes. How many episodes are there? 13.
Yeah.
So, you know, we'll be here for 13 weeks talking about these. So if you have binge watched, you can follow along with us episode by episode. But we are going to watch it like a regular TV show for all intents and purposes of filming here at AfterBuzz TV. But so excited for the next one. I kind of want to go home and watch it. But
too.
I'm like,
I know, having self-restraint is so hard when it comes to these things.
I do want to watch it too.
Oh, this is the first time I've ever done that. Shown restraint when it comes to a Netflix show.
I binge watch Netflix.
Always.
It's hard not to.
House of Cards 2 days.
I mean,
oh my gosh, yeah. I go on a bender. It's
you're like you lose your life and you just like glued to the TV.
And it's so depressing when it's over. So this is actually the healthy route to take. So I hope you guys join us in this.
Total healthy route.
We'll have to wait a little less for season 2.
Yes.
You know what? Let's talk about some predictions because I think we have some, right?
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
Ooh, how spooky this is.
It's predictions. Okay, so we kind of touched on these a little bit, but I think my main prediction is we are going to figure out soon in the next couple episodes that there was like a big fight that they had. That like maybe they were closer and they're, you know, besides the fact that their families worked together and their kids were friends and they worked around each other because of that crap. I think that they were close and then they had a falling out. Like there was an argument. There was a thing. That's my prediction. We're going to find that out.
My prediction, I think, is that we're going to meet some of Saul and Robert's other gay friends.
Couples.
And I think they're going to be like big actors. I think because I heard a rumor there's some big guest stars this season. So I think my prediction is that's where they come in.
Okay.
Interesting. I think along the lines of what you're saying is we're going to see a lot of backstory.
Okay.
So how these couples originally got together, which will be very interesting because I do feel Saul and Frankie have a little bit more love between them than Robert and Grace have.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see what their relationships were like when they originated.
Like flashbacks?
Yes, that's what I'm anticipating.
With some great hair.
Yeah.
Oh, how fun would that be?
But I want the actors that are playing them right now in this stage to play them when they're younger too.
Course.
I don't want to
agree.
hire younger actors.
No. I want them to just like look younger in 70s clothes or something.
Absolutely.
Do you know the guest stars? Have you heard of the guest stars?
I do not.
Okay.
And I will not reveal them if I do.
No. It's fine if you do. I was just going to say we can talk about what they are, but
No, I don't know. But you know what? Next week I will find out. And I will.
there is like a tiny little bit of news and gossip that I can share, like the tiniest.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right. For some of you who don't know this, I'm going to tell you something. The beach house is Marta Kaufman's beach house.
Lucky Marta Kaufman.
It's a beautiful beach
Go,
house.
girl.
And I'm just saying I recognized it. Yes. So it was, they filmed that at her beach house. And you know what, the reason why I'm bringing this up is I think this is awesome because this seems like a passion project to me. This seems like a Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda really wanted to work together. And, you know, Marta obviously is very passionate about producing and creating shows. And I think that they just like pull it all together. Like, okay, let's shoot here. Let's make this happen. Shoot at the beach house. Like, and that's nice to let someone into your home like
Very
that.
nice.
So I'm saying, I think, and it was nice to see that it makes you feel like they all really love doing this.
Well, they've been doing so much press for the show because it just got released.
Right.
And they did an interview with Marta where she, I guess, was talking to Jane Fonda, who said she wanted to do a project, and then Marta just automatically thought that she and Lily Tomlin were going to do it together.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, we're both doing it. So then she called, I think, Jane Fonda's agent, is like, is it true that they're going to want to do a show together? And then the agent called back 10 minutes later and said, they do now.
They are now.
They are now, because it was a great idea.
See what you do.
Start a rumor and you can
know.
make it true.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start a rumor.
She did it.
I'm
got a proven track record.
Oh, proven track record. I'm going to start rumors that I'm dating like hot actors, and then it'll just happen.
You should.
You know what? I will spread that rumor.
I'll help
that
you.
rumor. Secret that rumor for me. Okay, well, I guess that's our news and gossip for today. And we'll have more for you next week.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening and watching. We will be back next week to talk about episode 2, and Jen Golden will be here with us. She's the other fourth brunette that we have here. So yeah, we'll see you guys next week, and have a good week. And oh, that's right. And just in case you didn't get it in the beginning, you can follow me on Twitter at Lauren Leonelli, Facebook, Instagram, Vine, and my website, all at Lauren Leonelli.
And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at LoLoGrow.
And I'm at Jill_Fleischman, Instagram, YouTube, everything else, Jillian Fleischman.
All right.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.